Let's talk about indie games. Love them, hate them, don't care about them, doesn't matter, because in the last 10 years, indie games have changed the gaming landscape, and I'm here to talk to you about the top 5 indie games that have made a huge difference in what kind of games that I play to this day. Rule number 1, all of the games on this list are going to be 2D titles. I don't have enough time or energy to make a video that includes 2D and 3D titles. Maybe I'll do a 3D one later on. For now, we're just sticking to the 2D titles. Rule number 2, these games have to have been released in the last decade. It's 2023 right now, so if it was released in 2013 or later, it can make it onto the list here. Rule number 3, this is my opinion, and if you disagree with me, you can make a video. Rule number 4, the only games that are going to be on this list are games that I've personally played. Sorry if your game that you love didn't make it, I just didn't play it. Let's get into it. Starting with number 5, we have Stardew Valley, which earns its spot on my list for being the best cozy game. While Stardew doesn't do anything new, it takes timeless gameplay loops and mechanics and cranks them all the way to 11. What you have here is Animal Crossing mixed with Harvest Moon. Add just a dash of Terraria and a pinch of Minecraft and boom, Stardew Valley. The game opens up with your grandfather on his deathbed telling you he has the cure for burnout sealed in a letter. He passes away and it cuts to your farmer working in a cubicle, just hating life. You open the drawer to your desk and open the letter which contains the deed to your farm in Pelican Town. From there, you're off to do your own thing. There are objectives in Stardew Valley, but the vibes with this game are super chill. The only time limits are the amount of energy your farmer has and the in-game day-night cycle. Other games have tried to emulate the cozy atmosphere and success of Stardew. Games like Moonlighter, Cult of the Lamb, Spiritfarer, they all have their own take on the cozy management genre, but they all come up just shy, which is why Stardew Valley takes the number 5 spot.
Delicious.
The number 4 game being on this list probably doesn't come as a surprise to you. Hades is a critically acclaimed roguelite made by Supergiant Games. It takes the genre and flips it on its head with a solid sense of progression and character development. I found myself playing a roguelite for the story. This had never happened before Hades and has not happened for me since. The controls are tight, the enemy varieties are fun, the combat is varied and interesting. There's a lot to love with Hades. Other games in the genre like Dead Cells, Rogue Legacy, and Have a Nice Death approach the genre with side-scrolling. Hades took it a step further to an isometric, top-down view which does a lot to add complexity and spice to the combat. You play as Zagreus, disgruntled son of the titular Hades. Born in the underworld, Zagreus wants nothing more than to escape and see the world of the living. Gods of Olympus somehow heard of his plight and have decided to foist their boons upon him to aid in his escape. Mechanically, the boons act like upgrades that make Zag stronger and add variety to each run. Each failed run allows you to upgrade Zagreus' arsenal and power before trying again. With complex relationships, varied combat strategies, and a progressive storyline, it's no wonder Hades makes it to number 4. Coming up on number 3, we have Inscryption. This game makes the list for having the coolest progression I've ever seen in a deck-building roguelite. The game starts you off in a dark cabin playing a tabletop card game with a monstrous man named Leshy. Your deck consists of woodland creatures. Some of the cards start to talk to you, and it's not long before you realize there's more to this than just the card game. You are told that you can stand up from the table and look around the cabin. The deck-building game transforms into an escape room. Doing the escape room portion of the game unlocks more cards and abilities for the deck-building part. It doesn't stop there. Once you finish Leshy's cabin, the game changes tone and scope several more times. Without spoiling too much, the shifts in the game lead to found footage, many different gameplay loops, and ultimately an alternate reality game that takes place in the real world. It's for these reasons that Inscryption takes the number 3 spot on my list over games like Slay the Spire. Number 2 goes to Wildermyth. Wildermyth is a party-based tactical RPG with a progressively generated story system. This is a storytelling game that plays out differently every time you play it. I've spent countless hours on this game. I've invited a friend over multiple times and played for 8 hours straight. There are several starting scenarios to choose from that all have an overarching storyline. This storyline ends up as more of a guideline to how things play out. Throughout your journey, random scenarios can happen with a multitude of decisions that you can make that ultimately impact how the story ends up going. Characters can die, of course, but they can also lose limbs and eyes and undergo permanent transformations. For example, if a player loses their hand, they won't be able to equip anything that takes 2 hands, but they might get a hook instead that comes with its own attack. I have played through some of the pre-built scenarios multiple times, and I have never once had it go exactly the same way twice. This game is the closest to that Dungeons and Dragons feeling you can get while playing a video game, and I stand by that. For that reason, Wildermyth makes it to number 2. Time to take a small break from our list just to toss out a couple honorable mentions just because I have a little time and I like them. First honorable mention goes to Celeste for its tight controls and amazing approach to challenge versus accessibility. This game was made by Matt Makes Games, who also made the game Towerfall and Towerfall Ascension, which are amazing in their own right. Second honorable mention goes to Rivals of Aether, finally being a good platform fighter. I played competitive Super Smash Bros. For years, and Rivals is a love letter to competitive play. This game was made by Dan Fornes, the creator of the Ori series. Another good game creator to check out when you get a chance. Back to the list. Number 1 was probably obvious. I'm a huge fan of the Metroidvania genre, and Hollow Knight is what you get when you take every good aspect from them and polish it to the extreme. You play as the Knight, a character with no obvious origins at the start of the game. You are tasked with traveling the breadth of a derelict kingdom in order to discover what caused it to collapse. The art and music in this game is breathtaking. Every second you play, you can feel the love and labor that went into creating this. The combat is tight, the bosses are fun, the story has a level of intrigue and speculation that only the Souls games have been able to capture in the past. This game was created by Team Cherry, a team of just 3 guys, 2 developers and 1 musician. The game is only $15 on Steam and has never once gone up in price. In fact, it goes on sale all the time. There have been several DLCs that have come out and every single one of them has been free for the player. I cannot sing the praises of this game enough. If you like tight combat, exploration, atmosphere, and art, this game is for you. Go buy it right now. What are you still doing here? You should be moving on to my next video, which is me playing a scary game, and it's right here. If you haven't subscribed yet, try clicking up here, somewhere in this area, and then leave a like and a comment down below. Oh!